Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about the full moon in Sagittarius tomorrow, June 3rd at 8:41 p.m. Pacific time. For clarity, all the dates and times I refer to will be Pacific time, so please adjust for your location. This particular full moon in Sagittarius struck me very interesting because I recently watched a video with Pam Gregory doing an interview with Julia Balaz. And Julia Balaz is a galactic astrologer, and she was talking about the Shapley cluster. One of the components of the Shapley cluster is the Great Attractor. And that point in the great skies, the universe, the multiple universes, is at 14 degrees Sagittarius. The full moon that we'll be having tomorrow is at 13 degrees Sagittarius. And I thought this was very interesting because I think of Sagittarius and by nature as very diverse and inclusive, culturally curious and wanting to explore the diversity and the varying dynamics that the earth plane has to offer. Now we have this full moon, which is the culmination of a cycle, the brightest phase of the moon, illuminating a situation. And it is the second full moon that is in the reversed moon cycle. So when we had the two new moons in Aries, it changed up our monthly cycle from new moon to full moon. Now, until we experience two, I believe, full moons in Capricorn, which is about a year from now, we will be experiencing the full moon preceding the new moon. Now, when I thought about this full moon being on this point that I was unaware of, and yet as I watched the video, I found a majority of my personal planets are in orb with these points within the Shapley cluster. And so where I'm going with this is, as you see where 14 degrees of Sagittarius is in your natal chart, whether you have planets that are opposing that or squaring that point or conjunct that point, etc. I believe this is going to start to illuminate for you the end of a cycle of unknowing and an opening and an awareness of the expansive nature of who you are in general. I can't begin to tell you how it warms my heart to see this point called the Great Attractor. I, as an intuitive astrologer and a spiritual teacher and somebody who has studied the various schools of metaphysics and astrology for years, have come to run my life on the laws of attraction, the law of allowing. Where is my vibration? What do I believe about a situation? What does Jupiter represent? Beliefs. What does the sign of Sagittarius represent? It represents ideologies and philosophies and things that are of a broad and inclusive nature, because they're broad, because they're including the whole. And so I thought this was extremely fascinating at this time in human history, as I believe we are being inundated more than ever before with fear-based concepts, marketing themes, dynamics, and all of this, I believe, is actually propelling us and attracting us into a position to stand in its opposition and decide if all this input is actually true to our own personal nature, our own personal philosophies, our own personal beliefs. And I believe personally, that we are coming to a place where we're not going to start to go to war verbally, physically, mentally, in any way, but rather a surrender to the dynamic as we start to see the laws of the universe reveal themselves in more earthbound and grounded ways. The 14th degree is the Aryan degree of pioneering spirit, of the hero energy, the energy that is a bit fearless and very instinctual on some level. Everything about the Aries energy goes into the unknown and must trust itself to manage through the unknown. And how do we best do that? We trust our inner knowing. So when I look at the idea of the great attractor being on this full moon, and this is a strawberry moon, I looked up how long does it take to grow a strawberry? And it takes anywhere from 2 to 4 months. Well, isn't it interesting that Saturn moved into Pisces, giving us an opportunity to build on our spiritual beliefs and to open them up. And we had Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius go retrograde. And I just feel like this is so fascinating to me because I see this as this Uranian energy, Saturn's energy. And I know Pluto is not Uranian, but it is in Aquarius right now. So there's a digging deep to be liberated from any energies that are oppressing us through fear-based dynamics. I don't want to eliminate fear altogether because I believe that fear is a wonderful propellant. You know, it not only connects us to our gut instincts, but it also can move us. It can propel us to take action in a way that's more courageous than we would in normal circumstances. So I think that this full moon and whatever house this is in for you, wherever Sagittarius falls in your chart, is giving you an opportunity to come to the conclusion, to come to a certain ending of giving your power up to others and now allowing yourself to stretch beyond where you have been before by starting to pay attention to your thoughts, and that your thoughts are playing to the great attractor in the universe. Julia was talking about how these various points create these swirls of energy that bring things to them. They don't effort out to make them happen. So as we see the galactic center and then the super galactic center, and then we go to the great attractor, each one of these points is attracting more and more planets and universes within towards them. And I think this is where this Sagittarius full moon gives us this opportunity to truly expand beyond our smallness, expand beyond our everyday thoughts of just getting through the day, getting to the weekend, getting those bills paid, getting those kids to school, and now starting to look in a broader way of how do my thoughts, how am I attracting my life and my life's experiences? I also think that I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. Oh, I know. I think that one of the things about this full moon is that it is starting to bring us together in a way where we are wanting to work together, wanting to support the varying pathways to truth, where as a human race, rather than living in a divided place. And I believe that the division between humans has been purported because when we lack knowledge, we lack options. And when we have knowledge, we open up our options. And when we see each other as cooperative components to that, even through divine disruption, it offers us an opportunity to be even more aware and more capable and more of service to others as we attract the experiences that are more palatable and enjoyable to us. This year, 2023, is a 7-year. It is a year that is supporting an introspection from a more unemotional point of view, very seventh house, very Libra, very scales of justice energy. In the Pacific time zone, this full moon is at 7:41. Well, that reduces down to a 13. Where was I going with that? Oh, I know where I was going with that. The number 13 is the exact degree that we're having this full moon on. The 13th degree is the Martian degree, the Aryan degree, the degree of bravery, the degree of heroism. Sorry that my mind is going a little, I'm hearing sirens behind me and getting a little distracted, so please bear with me a bit. I also wanted to bring up, because this full moon is at 13 degrees, it's in the Pacific time zone, at the number 13, and the new moon back in November of 2022. The new moon was at 1 degree Sagittarius, but the nodes were at 13 degrees on the Taurus Scorpio axis. And the north node was conjunct Uranus. And I say this because I believe that this is all playing to a personal interior epiphany that allows me to be aware of the power of my mind. And rather than just letting it sort of tumble through my day, I now have an opportunity to sit in an expansive, faithful energy that as I focus on the things that I find desirable, not the path to get there, but the potential of how it would feel once it is manifested, that will start to support your experiences with the great attractor, using the stars, using these dynamics that seem so remote, so far away from where we are, and yet we are all beings of the same basic elements, and that we're comprised of the same components. So when we see ourselves that way, then we start to experience it, then those around us experience it, and it offers us a new human dynamic. And we stop with this, you're here to learn lessons, you're here to suffer, you're here to be of service to others in a way that feels actually distasteful to you. All of those dynamics are what I believe are being divinely disrupted so that we can sit in a place of understanding. And when we come across fears or trepidations or challenges, we seek out the wisdom they afford us and the resources they give us. I think this is super, super powerful. I also want to offer this because this is why I didn't want to go through each sign and address this particular moon the way I have in the past, because this made me want to say to the audience, where is the galactic center is at 27 degrees Sagittarius, the supergalactic center is at 2 degrees Libra, the great attractor is at 14 degrees Sagittarius, Shapley attractor is at 2 degrees Scorpio. In this just cluster in this particular house structure, we go into the house of diplomacy and of harmony and of peace, Libra. We go into the house of Scorpio, which rules power and control over others and the deep psychological imprint with which we make our decisions upon. Then we go into Sagittarius, which really broadens us and allows us to extract the wealth and the good luck as we have garnished wisdom through this part of the chart. So I think if you look at your own personal natal chart and you see how many personal planets do I have over here? What kind of aspects are they making? It could very much illuminate some of the challenges that you felt. I was blown away. My personal chart is riddled with personal planets in those areas. Let me give you the orbs real quick because they're rather large, but I think it's because these systems are so powerful, and that's why they're the way that Julia explained it is the orb indicates the intensity. So the tighter the orb, the more intense the feeling, the looser the orb, the less influential it may feel, but it's influencing nonetheless. So if you've got anything at 26 degrees Sagittarius, you are within 3 to 5 degrees orb. That's a significant point for you. If you have planets within 5 to 10 degrees of 2 degrees Libra, that's the galactic center, and that's another point of influence. We have, again, the great attractor is at 14 degrees Sagittarius, and there is a 5 to 12 degree orb there. So anything that you would have in the late degrees of Scorpio all the way through almost to the end degrees of Sagittarius. So it might be out of sign, but it'll still be an orb. And then finally, the Shapley attractor is at 2 degrees Scorpio. And I find that very interesting, the 2 degrees, because it comes up twice here. It comes up in the supergalactic center and it comes up in the Shapley attractor. So I'm feeling very much that 2 is the Venusian degree, the degree that is speaking to my self-worth, my ability to manifest using my skills, using my voice here on this planet. And as I have done my meditations and my automatic writings, Spirit has repeatedly shown me that we are not here in some form of punishment, but rather this is a playground that we've not learned how to master, that we've not learned how to play with all the devices, and instead we've turned it into a job, and it's not supposed to be a job. It's supposed to be the opposite, which is why I believe that the fifth house and the sign of Leo and the sun rule the zodiac. So while this is not my normal full moon video, kind of looking at astrology from what I believe is sort of an everyday way of looking at it, I think it's time or an opportunity for us all to start to look at the varying components, sort of the wizard behind the wizard. The energy behind the energy, the intention behind the words. And here I think we're being offered that. Real quickly, I want to just say that the moon in this full moon will be trining Chiron in Aries. It's a 5-degree orb, but at the same time, I think that's important because Chiron rules the wound of self, and the moon rules our emotions. This is in a positive and favorable aspect with the trine. We have Mercury conjunct Uranus. Uranus is finally moving into the last 10 degrees of Taurus. And here we're starting to see Uranus calling forth a mastering of our mind. And this is not about controlling the mind. This is more about an awareness of the mind. And am I using my genius? Am I allowing myself to evolve, to be, look to the future in a way that allows for the ebb and the flow of the journey? Otherwise, the positive and negative, if you'd like to put it that way. And Mercury being at 19 degrees conjunct Uranus in Taurus is giving me an opportunity to see how my mind works in balance. The 19th degree is the Libra degree, and the 20th degree is the Scorpio degree. So this very much is playing to Mercury, the everyday mind, Uranus, the more futuristic, the I don't want to call it higher minded. I want to broaden it. I don't want to judge it. It feels like when you say higher and lower, it feels judgy. So here, this is very powerful to me, all during this full moon. This is why I think we're going to have an epiphany. Then we have Pluto in an out of sign opposition with Venus as she approaches the 20th degree of Cancer and the last degrees of Cancer. So we're starting to see the grand fixed cross, aka square, depending how you look at it. I tend to see a cross, but it's a square. And I think this is important because this tense conversation is really kind of asking me, where have I been stubborn, or where have I been unable to bend or to allow for the expansion that Jupiter offers? And this is what I believe is all the components of this full moon. I feel like Sagittarius by nature is offering me diversity, offering me an opportunity to through my willingness to examine and not criticize or judge, but examine my beliefs. And maybe some of them were current at one point and necessary, and yet I've carried them into a future, and now they're not working for me. They're actually tethering me to that old experience. And this is giving you an opportunity to recognize that, and then to, sidestep it so that you can move more effortlessly towards your future, which you are attracting to you through this 14-degree great attractor full moon experience. So I think this is very exciting. We will have a new moon in Gemini at 26 degrees in just a couple of weeks. And I think this is ushering in an opportunity, rather than to look at how I'm running my everyday life, how I'm communicating out. I think as a result of this full moon, we may be taking in information and then discerning it, or and analyzing it in a way to say, do I just take this information in blindly, or do I kind of do my own pros and cons about it, and then allow this inner knowing to be your true north? So I hope that this made sense. It's a little bit different, as I said, than I normally do, but I found that video so fascinating and just sort of supporting the layers and layers that I have felt intuitively, but have not sought out through research of the stars. So I was so excited this information came across my path. I will put the link for it in the description. I did allude to it in some of my monthly videos. And by the time I finished the monthly videos, I wasn't sure which ones I talked about it in, but I did go back and put the link in each one of those. So if you've seen your June monthly, if you look at the very bottom of the description, you'll find the link to that video on Pam's site. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe, please share. And if I can give you anything, if you have any interest or topics you're interested in, starting to compile a list of things, because I really want my channel to help you as an individual see yourself in the stars and then to reach for them unabashedly. All right, everybody, that's it for me today. Have a happy new moon. I'm sorry, happy full moon, and I will see you soon. Peace out.